Hi, my name is Morrison, and I help people to make changes to how they think and feel about themselves and what's going on in their lives. Some of the things I deal with are anything from anxiety and stress to diet and weight loss, and all issues in between. Many of my clients come to me because they find it difficult to cope with what's going on in their lives, whether that's someone or a situation. And we start off by helping them to identify what the issues are and what the problem is that they want to try and resolve. When I'm working with people over the phone, we'll have an initial consultation, a discussion about what they want to achieve, whether that's to be able to cope with things in a better way or to perhaps achieve a goal that they've long desired to do. And then we'll explore that a bit more. At subsequent sessions, we'll establish a goal for that session and then help each other to work towards that. There'll be work to do in between times, I'm afraid, but that's part of the change process. Many people find that they can't cope with things that are going on in their lives. And sometimes when someone's anxious, they find that all they can think about is the things that go wrong, perhaps thinking about things in the future what will happen and how will they cope if it happens. And part of my job is helping them to understand that actually they can cope. Even if things feel uncomfortable and perhaps don't turn out quite the way that they'd like, they can still survive and cope with those things. Let me give you an example. I was working a few years ago with someone who was a director with an accountancy company, and she'd got this promotion. And up to that point, she'd been one of the staff, one of the gang. And part of the problem for her was that she wasn't quite sure how she related now to the other staff that she'd worked with, because she was now responsible for managing them. She had the role as an HR manager. She also had to deal with her fellow directors, who were all fellows. And she was a bit unsure about that, being the only woman in a team of about half a dozen men. And so we worked on various issues, partly helping her to be more comfortable in her new role, and quite what that meant to her and to those that she was working with. She also had to deal with some difficult staff, or at least some staff that were behaving in difficult ways. So we helped to address that too. And the other thing that she wanted to work on was her time management. So in order to help her to achieve her outcome of being more relaxed, more comfortable in her new role, to be able to control her time a bit better, we developed various strategies. She actually had at one time used a diary and had used colour to help her decide what was going on. So we implemented that again. She had certain colours for certain files and for certain customers and certain tax procedures. So we matched those up, so when she looked at her Outlook in the morning, she could tell exactly how her day was spent. So for instance, she was able then to pencil in time for herself. So if she had a meeting to prepare for, she'd put me time beforehand. She also learned that actually she had a valid point of view, and she was able then, through mental rehearsal and visualization, to see herself coping in different ways and in more helpful ways, and that helped her to cope. Another client who came to me because he was feeling anxious and stressed was Ben. A few years ago, he'd actually been beaten up quite badly, and although the person responsible had been imprisoned, that person was now out of jail and actually living not too far away. Ben was anxious because he was worried in case he met this person again. What might happen? Might he get beaten up? What might happen to his children and his wife? And obviously that's an understandable concern when you've been through something like that. But by helping him to identify and to consider that position and the reality of that likely to happen, considering the person had spent time in prison, we were able to work through his concerns and to help him to realise that actually they were exceedingly unlikely to happen, although we couldn't rule it out 100% because you never can in life. And he was able then to put that experience behind him and to be able to cope in a more balanced way if he had met the person. So those are just two examples of how I will work with people. And I have quite an extensive experience and training, not only training as a coach, as an NLP master practitioner, but also in hypnosis and combining that with cognitive behavioural therapy. So I have quite a lot of tools in my toolbox that help me to tailor my interventions with clients, with the people I'm helping. I suppose I do what I do because I enjoy helping people. I enjoy, I suppose, the buzz it gives me when I see someone who's come in to work with me, whether that's on the phone or face-to-face, with issues and problems that they want to resolve, perhaps not being able to see the way forward or feel the way through their jungle. And by just simply helping them by asking questions, helping them to take a step back from situations, to take a different perspective on things, they then can tap into their own resources and start to make those changes. And okay, sometimes it'll be through specific techniques that I can teach them and show them that they can then use for themselves. But it's really about helping to release their potential. And I take a pleasure in doing that because it's good to see someone being able to make those changes and to get on with their lives in a more positive way.